Hello there, Ben was due on the lake. Hey, here's a carving that was tossed about in the fire, and I repaired it, put another part of a roof on there, put some finish on there. This guy's still wet because I just sprayed him with a varnish, an outdoor varnish to protect him, but he'll be a little bit duller, and I'm hoping he'll lighten up a little bit. I used kind of a dark varnish on him, but here's what happened. This piece was in the fire, and part of it was burned on the right side there. I took a wire wheel to all of it, and the top of the roof was broke off. You can see the bottom. I hadn't finished carving the roof. I was going to do some tiles in there, kind of like Jordy Johnson over at Carving Fusion. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the rest of it, but it's cottonwood bark, and the box was made out of a fruit crate. And at some point in the middle there, you'll see. I tried to use the old nails. You can see in his face, I used the nails out of the fruit crate. On the right side of his head there's one sticking out, my thumb on it right there. But I'm going to finish this guy up and get ready to take him down to the gallery down there. So I quick tap the nails back in there. This half of it got broken when the firemen were throwing crap out of the way. This was underneath something, I guess. And it didn't have the full effects, but the front was burned. I took a wire wheel, and that cottonwood bark, it took a lot of the detail out of the face of him. And really the part that was burned was on the right side of him there. You can see I'm cheating. I didn't feel like figuring out how to lever these nails out, and they weren't going to hurt anybody, so I put them back in and just tapped them down. And my new bandsaw's in. I got a video to do on that. I got a couple of quick bird carvings, silhouette birds, for a house that next door, my daughter calls it the Canary House. And I did a couple of birds. They have primarily silhouettes. There's a failed raccoon carving that I was setting up to do. It's a little bit bigger than this, and it was supposed to be a bear. And I was farting around with the bear. It was raining the last week. I was up back at home. I'm down in Wisconsin again this week, and the priorities were put the bandsaw together and get it in the Stuga. And then the other priority was to do some garden work, take care of the bees, that sort of thing. A little bit of cleanup around various different spraying things. And my time was limited. So I didn't get around to changing out the sprocket on the chainsaw because I was too busy doing other things. And this is what I did early in the morning when nobody's up. So this guy had an eyebrow was broken off on the right side there. And fortunately, there was enough wood that I was able to take the power carve micro carver and a diamond bit and put that back in. So you see, I'm putting back in some of the detail that I lost when I went over this with the wire brush. And you can see he's a little bit fuzzy. I really like the way this guy turned out, and I didn't finish him up because I was going to keep him. And now I'm not. I'm going to take him and send him down to the gallery down in Madison, Wisconsin here when he's done. But I thought you might enjoy taking a look at how this guy came out. The dust collector is still on back order. I still have not had any luck finding a contractor, and I pretty much resigned myself to building the studio myself. Now I'm running out of time because today is the 1st of August, and I've really got till about September, into September, maybe into October. I think if I can get a good 2 or 3 weeks going, I can put the building up. But first I have to tear down the older building and prepare the ground and get the foundation poured and that sort of stuff. So I will film all of that when I get ready to do that, and I'll share that with you. I'm doing some silly signs that are going down to the gallery. The problem with when you start selling stuff and you're trying to put stuff out to sell, then you've got to do that production. So if you start to get into carving, you'll find that you'll be doing a lot of stuff. It's not that I don't want to do that stuff, it's just that I feel kind of obligated to keep the stock and the supply up. So you can see that the wire brush took some of the details out, and I'm putting them back in. Hey, of note, those eyes. The eyes are designed to kind of read from far away, not up close like this. And what's interesting is the Greek sculptures in the old days. You'll look at a sculpture and you look at the eyes on them, and you're standing 5, 10, 15 feet away, and they read really well. And these almost read well from 3 feet away where I'm filming. But basically, it's just drilling a hole in the center and representing the pupil on that, the iris and the pupil, and it reads real well. So a lot of this stuff in the art world, you don't have to reinvent or recreate. I do have some eyes, some of the eye forming tools. I bought a set of them. Thus far, I'm not necessarily liking them. I'd almost rather do them freehand, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But the eye concave ones, they do a little cutting job. They're like an upside down bowl, and then they do the burning. And so far, the little bit I've played around with them, I haven't really liked them. So here's a ceramic stone in here, and I'm going to come down and sharpen up the lines in his mustache and his beard. You see, I left him with a big mouth, and I do like this guy's forehead. I like the way the mouth came out for the birdhouse. So nothing new here for those of you that are trying to learn something, other than to see how something like this might get carved. I don't use a pattern when I'm doing these guys. A lot of them tend to come out with my style. If you look at Jordy Johnson over at Carving Fusion, you should go check his stuff out. Jordy's stuff comes out with Jordy style. Ryan Cook has a style, as does Uncle Kevin and all of those guys. So don't try to copy what I'm doing. I mean, by all means, actually, let me take that back. Do try to copy. If you like it, try to copy what I'm doing. But what you're going to find out is it's not going to come out like mine unless you're really good at following the details. So this cottonwood did come from Jordy. And hey, Jordy, if you're watching this, I sent you an email. I'm ready to cut the basswood and beam it off in your direction. I just need to, I can't remember or find the email where you told me the sizes here. Heck, 6 months ago, I guess it was now or more. So the bottom portion of this guy, the bottom, I'm just going to cut a piece and slap it in there. And then I've got some Danish Watkins oil that I'm going to put on. So that's kind of neat there. I left the label in from the fruit crate in there just so someone could see it at a later date. I went over to that nice new bandsaw, and I really do like it. It's got lots of power. It's got 13 inches, I think, on the throat, or 17 inches on the throat. So I can put my big basswood billets in there and cut them down. Before, I had to either use a Sawzall or something along those lines. I didn't use any glue in this guy, primarily because I didn't have any glue available, but it's really not necessary. I don't know that this kind of guy would go outside. He might. I should take some pictures of the one I did a couple of years ago and hanging on a tree out here. He's aged really well. But he did definitely age, and you can see that he's deteriorating as all carvings outside will deteriorate if you're not putting a finish on them, renewing the finish every year. It's kind of like a deck. If you don't keep the maintenance up on a deck, at some point you've gone too far, and the deck just needs it's scrap. So here's 2 pieces of basswood, beautifully ripped on that new bandsaw, and it does a wonderful job on this. I got a 3/4 blade on there, Timberline or Timber Ridge, something along those lines. I can't remember. The damn blade on the thing was $80, and I don't remember the exact size, but it's 130 inches or 140 inches long. That's getting pretty close into the area of my big bandsaw blades that are out at the farm or at the woodlot. So I just tacked these in. I looked at it to see if I needed to put a bevel on the top, and I didn't. I just went ahead and overlapped. I'm going to overlap one of the pieces and not put a ridge cap in on the thing. I don't think that it's going to be used for a bird. If it went outside, it really wouldn't be used for a bird house. People that make bird houses, a lot of times you got two different kinds of bird houses. You got bird houses that are correct for the type of bird you're trying to attract, and that means that the dimensions on the inside, the conditions, whether it can get water in there or not, are correct, and then most importantly, the hole on the front of it has to be the right size, and they're so much smaller for different birds than you would think they would be. There was a time when I did a lot of bird houses and sold them, and various different decorative things, and I might do a few of those someday just to show you how they're done, to put some down in the gallery. And they had a lot of painting and a lot of little detail work on them, and not so much carving as birdhouse material. So I nailed those on there, and then here, this is Watkins Danish oil, and this is a walnut, and it was all that I had, and it was a little bit darker than I liked it, but I wanted to get something on here other than just a varnish. And you can see that I did the whole entire thing with this, and then I let it dry, and it come out kind of a neat with a neat patina look to it, and it really kind of highlighted. Now after it was dry, I came back with the little brass brush, and I took a lot of it off there. You can see it has a nice walnut for sure look about it, and I tried to get down in there. And this is the same thing that those guys are doing when they're chainsaw carving. Basically, is they're burning, and then the darker stays down in the cracks and crevices, and it's the exact same process that painters would call antiquing. So a lot of times, like when I got a yellow canary bird that I did that's nothing spectacular. It was kind of fun. I tried to do one off of a flat two-dimensional pattern. I wanted to see what it would look like in 3 dimensions, and I like it. It got painted bright yellow, and you'll see that here in a couple days. And the one thing I did not do to it is antique it. So those of you that are trying to figure out how to finish up your carvings, if you paint them, antiquing is simply taking something that's a little bit darker, a wash primarily in a lot of cases, or in many cases they put pretty dark on there, and then they immediately wipe it off. So the highlights, the part that's stuck up in the air, like on this, that the brass brush is getting, are highlighted and they're lightened, and then the dark stays down in there. That's what antiquing does, and it's really kind of the final step. Now, things naturally antique, if, as you know, that's some of the beauty behind things, called patina. As time goes by, dirt and soot and smoke and that sort of stuff gets into various different things, like a carving or a painting or whatever, and or a table, and you name it, anything. And then you continue to clean it or wipe it off, and you don't get the dirt out of the cracks and the crevices, and therefore it becomes antique or gets antiqued. Okay, so I was taking the talking about the antiquing on this. You can see there's an interrupt in the middle. That's that damn air conditioner down here in Iowa that's sitting right in the middle of the condo and kicks on in the middle. So I will edit that center portion, the pause, out. And this stuff really didn't want to come off real well. And I'm not a big fan of as being as dark as it is. I would have preferred to be it a little bit lighter, but it comes out to be a pretty neat piece when I'm done messing around with it here. You have to be careful. This is a pretty good piece of cottonwood. Jordy sent me some excellent cottonwood. I've got a few more pieces of it still. I had most of it in the house, stuck in a closet, and it wasn't out in the studio. So there he is. Dusted him off. Due to the pandemic, of course, my dust collector is on back order, and they said expected the 5th of August. Well, if that's anything like the bandsaw, We'll get that sometime before Christmas. I did take a little bit of sandpaper, and I didn't leave that in the filming there because you didn't need to see me, and did a little more on the highlights here. But there he is, and he's a little bit glossy there, and I took some steel wool and brought his face down, but he came out real nice, real interesting. And this is fixing up one of the old ones that is reclaimed, and occasionally I've got probably 20 or 30 different carvings that'll be in there in this type of video. So hey, thanks a lot. Subscribe for the rest of the videos, and stand by. I'll get 2 or 3 more of those out this week. Thanks a lot. This has been Ben with Studio on the Lake.